Hello guys, welcome to another episode of React Review Attack. We're going to be doing a spoiler-free review of Star Wars The Force Awakens, Episode 7, directed by J.J. Abrams. Let's go ahead and just jump right into it. The Force Awakens. Is this movie, before we get into the spoiler-free review, this movie, everyone wants this movie to be perfect, wants this movie to be absolutely phenomenal. It's not, just like the original trilogy. You know, oh my god, someone said that, but the original trilogy isn't perfect. It has its flaws, just like this movie. Most movies have their flaws. But because this movie, we've been waiting for this movie for almost 35, 40 years, because we got the prequels, we got Phantom Menace, and then that was just garbage. And then the original trilogy, the prequels were, the original trilogies are so great and so loved that when you get something and it's not what you want, it becomes almost worse than what it actually is. And that's what happened to the prequels. Relied way too much on CGI and had actors just like trying to act. You know, people, we're human beings, we're emotional creatures. And so when we're in a blue room, like a blue screen, not interacting with other people, you're not going to get very good acting. And that was the problem with the prequels. And that's what's so great about The Force Awakens. And that's so great about the original trilogy. Because it's not a blue screen. Practical effects. They're amazing. You actually see stuff. You understand. Someone's not just explaining you and say, go stronger and more intense. Do this like this. No, you actually know what you're supposed to be looking at. You actually feel the environment. You are living Star Wars. You're in that galaxy far, far away, and that's what Force Awakens does so well. It brings you back. It feels like Star Wars for once. I don't know where to rank this movie yet. I've seen it twice. The first time, it was like it was an emotional roller coaster, really. Like when you see that crawl just pop out. The first sentence and it's just this emotional wave that hits you. It's like, oh my god, this is happening. Oh my god, please be good, please be good. And when it's actually good, within the first 5 minutes I was like, oh my god, this is gonna be good. Oh my god. The Force Awakens follows the story of, well, there's a new trio, but pretty much the plot is, I'll give you the plot pretty much what the trailer plot shows, that way it doesn't ruin anything, but it's very like a Star Wars movie that you have central characters that have to go throughout the galaxy to complete a mission. And then the mission becomes a little bit more complex. And then at the same time, you get these three individual people, even though this movie mainly focuses on just two of them, Finn and Rey, and you get kind of their backstory. And you have all these questions. And that's what a lot of people are not going to like about this movie, is that like not all your questions are answered. Guess what? It's the first of a new trilogy. They're not going to answer all your questions. They want you to watch the second one and the third one. When like in New Hope, like, oh yes, you're when Obi-Wan Kenobi's talking to Luke, your father was a Jedi Knight. It's like, what? What's a Jedi Knight? What's the Force? Who's his dad? You have all these questions and they don't get answered until Empire. Kind of. Like, Empire asks you even more questions. There's cliffhangers. This movie takes you on this emotional roller coaster because it feels like it. The John Williams score is beautiful throughout it. The only complaint I have about the John Williams score is that if I would have loved it to be slightly louder, on occasions there's parts where like during the dogfights where like, you know, the explosion, stuff like that kind of overwhelmed the score. I feel the score should have been just more throughout, and I think that's what made the original Star Wars so great. The New Hope. Just the score just made the movie so much better than it actually is, because it gives you this emotional appeal of this orchestra just engulfing you and just, you know, making you feel certain ways and taking you this beautiful arc of Luke's maturity and character development. But the new trio, you got Poe Dameron, who's just like the most likable person ever. Can't really talk too much about him. The only flaw that I think about Poe Dameron's character is that he's not enough in this movie. I wish he was just I want more, and that's all I can say about that. Finn, very likable character. What a likable character. Finn's story arc is, I'll just kind of go say with what the trailer gives us, the Force Awakens official trailer gives us. He was a stormtrooper. Something happens, he might have witnessed something that he did not like, and he was just like, I'm out. This is not for me. By doing so, he escapes to Jakku, where he runs into Rey, who's this other phenomenal character. I loved Rey's character so much. She was absolutely phenomenal. I love that the new cast is great. How about the old cast? We get so much Han Solo, and he's Han Solo. He's not Han Solo exactly Han Solo. He's Han Solo 30 years later, but he's still Han Solo. Harrison Ford does a great job. We run into Leia also. And Luke, he's maybe in the movie? And then, of course, another main character, Kylo Ren, which is great. We get to know so much about this character. We get to know his motivations and stuff like that. That's probably one of the biggest faults with Darth Vader in the original Star Wars, the very first movie, is that you really don't get to know him. He's just this guy who's a bad guy to be a bad guy, and then you eventually find out his story arc. But you find out Kylo Ren's motivations in this movie, and you get it. You understand it. You don't necessarily agree with him, but you understand why he's doing what he wants to do. And that lightsaber is just so badass. The visual effects are just phenomenal throughout this entire movie. I can't get over it. The plot is good too. It completely keeps on going. Something that people are gonna dislike is how familiar the plot can be. I can't really say much more than that, but that can be probably one of its weakest points, is certain parts in the plot you've seen before. There's going to be parts in this movie that's like, I've seen that. I know where this is going. That is probably the biggest flaw with this movie, but it's also its strength, because all of us complain, like, the prequels were just so bad. Why can't it be more like the original? And then we get a movie that gets more like the original. And some people are not going to like that, which is weird. What do I think about this movie? I thought it was great. Is it a perfect movie? No. None of the Star Wars movies are. I'm constantly debating. My favorite Star Wars movie is Empire Strikes Back. My second is, the original Star Wars, A New Hope. And my third is probably Force Awakens. And it might beat New Hope, but New Hope is just the original, and it's so great and so perfect, and I don't want it to beat it, and I don't know, it's this conflict that I'm having. It's better than Return of the Jedi, which is the best compliment I can give it. And the lightsaber fight in this too. Return of the Jedi had its problems, mainly Ewoks and its pacing, and the acting wasn't necessarily there, and that's why I think that acting in this movie is just better compared to Return of the Jedi, because it is there. You can feel the emotion. The fact that you can feel the emotion on characters that are masked and wear helmets, and you can tell what they're feeling. You can see how intimidating they are, or if they're afraid and they don't want to do something and they're shaking. You understand what they're feeling, and you can't see their face. Brilliant. What I was getting at with Return of the Jedi is that Return of the Jedi, even though it's probably the weakest of the original trilogy, might have the best lightsaber fight. When Luke, you feel that raw emotion of Luke fighting his father and just, about to cutting his hand off. It's so great. You get it. It's Luke's a person. Luke is this person you connect to, and you can connect to the new characters. It's so great. It's almost overwhelming. You cannot explain it without going into spoilers, so I won't. So I'll end this review saying that this movie's not perfect, but it's phenomenal. Could it be better? Yes, but so can anything. What the biggest faults of this movie is also its strengths, that it is setting up for the next movie, so you don't get a complete movie. it stops, and you want more. And that's exactly what Empire Strikes Back did. Like, Empire Strikes Back ended on a cliffhanger, and you wanted more. And this movie is it makes you want to crave more Star Wars, and that's a good thing, not a bad thing. I'll give this movie a B+, probably an 8.9 out of 10. It could have been better, but the fact that it did as well as it did, being so overhyped and having so much pressure on the director and the new cast, I thought everyone did a good job. I hope you liked my spoiler-free review. It's kind of all over the place. Can't really say too much besides the fact that the movie was good and you're going to enjoy it. If you're a Star Wars fan, you're going to enjoy it. So like, subscribe, and comment on this video. Let me know if you have any questions. Feel free to comment, and have a good day, guys. I hope you watch the movie.